Hello everyone, Jenn DuBell here for Graphic 45. And for the month of May, my project is to create something holiday related. So I have chosen Mother's Day because Mother's Day is in May. And the Portrait of a Lady collection is an amazing collection to make a Mother's Day project with, which is what I have chosen. Now I do have I've used some of the papers from the 8x8 as well as the journaling cards and such that were in my stash. But those papers are the same in the 12x12 collection pack that is available on the website. They're just larger. So keep that in mind when you see my project here. So what I've created is a loaded pocket folio. So I've used a lot of different cut aparts. I've made a box pocket on the front of my folio. I've used some of the Ivory tags from the tag album. These are the regular size tags. I've also used some chipboards from my stash. This was a chipboard rose tag that actually matched this paper wonderfully, as well as this little clip. I have taken one of the stickers from the collection pack and put that under the dome there. Again, here we have some chipboard that I have used some ink and embossing powder on. We have one pocket here as well as our box pocket. And then this tag has the paper on it as well as one of the cut aparts goes into a belly band. This one I used a die from my stash that makes this little corner pocket and mounted one of the cut aparts onto some of this heavy ivory cardstock that I used. And then as used some of the, this is one of the stickers that I placed over a piece of chipboard, added some brads to lift that up a bit. And then all of these here are fussy cuts, mimicked with the flowers from the Graphic 45 roses as well. And these are the pink and the ivory and natural collection. So this is what you have. And now when we open this up, you can see there's quite a lot here. On the bottom here, we just have a normal pocket that has some fussy cut roses on it. And I have put a 4x6 journaling card. Again, you can use cut aparts from the paper and put the front on here and the back on the inside and place that on the heavy ivory cardstock. At the top here, this is where the fun begins. So what we have here is two small pockets. We have a journaling card inside of a belly banded photo mat. And then this is a fussy cut element from the paper that was placed on here with a brad. And that can just slip over and then inside of there, tuck, holds that in there. And then when you see, this is holding these two doors closed. So when we pull this out, here we have more. So behind that, there's another pocket that holds a photo mat with one of the cut aparts and a journaling card, which you can place any inserts in here that you like. And this is all how this works. And it's fun. It's a fun little interactive way. So as you can see, if you were to do this just like this, this would not stay closed. But once you stick this fun little journaling card in here, it holds those closed. So that is my walkthrough of my finished loaded pocket folio for Mother's Day. This makes a wonderful gift. And I will have a tutorial going forward on how I created the base by itself. And then I have a cut guide for what I used for papers that I will put at the end, but it is not, it's optional. You can decorate the same way I did, or you can decorate with any of the paper collections, or use this one and do them exactly the same or in your own way. So I will also tell you, I did not have patterns and solids for this collection. So what I used was the patterns and solids pad from Safari Adventure. And I've used the dark green, I can find it here, in this pad. And it does wonderful for coordinating with this Portrait of a Lady paper. So if you do want some solid that matches really, really well, and you happen to have the Safari Adventure patterns and solids, grab some of that dark green. The medium green also matches, so those work just as well. So stay tuned for my tutorial on the base, and then I will be back with more. Okay, so to make the base, you're going to start with some Ivory cardstock or any other color, depending on what you're using. This is a 110-pound cardstock. I wanted a nice heavy cardstock for my base. And this is 2 pieces combined. When all combined, it comes out to 17 3/8 of an inch long on mine. So I had one piece that was cut to 5 by 11, and then one piece that was cut by 5 by 6 3/4. And as you can see here, I have put those together with 1/2 inch, about 3/4 inch score tape along here. And that's how I ended up with my 5 inches wide by 17 3/8. And then on this part, you're just going to take your scoreboard, pull that out, and start at this. Put your paper on here lengthwise, and we want to score at 7 inches, 7.5 inches, and then at that 1/2 inch, 7.5 inch mark, go ahead and fold your paper in, butt that 7.5 inch score line up to the 0, and score again at 7. And that's going to leave us this 3-inch pocket here. Let's pull this out of the way for a moment. And then I use a We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board to do my notches. You can use a circle punch or anything that works for you. We know that this is 5 inches, so we want to put this right about 2.5 here and then punch. And that's why I like using this board for that, because I can find my halfway point and pretty much know that I'm always going to have this right in the middle. So with that done, we have our base portion started. Next, we want to add the inside pieces. And to do that, you need 2 pieces that measure 3 inches wide by 6 7/8 of an inch long. And these are scored at 1/2 inch on either side. So you want one that has a 1/2 inch score line down the left and one that has a 1/2 inch score down the right. And then these pieces are taken, and we want to be at the top portion here. Go ahead and burnish your score lines. And then I'm just going to do this with glue. You can do this with score tape as well. Put the adhesive, whether it be score tape or glue, on those flaps. And then bring in your folio top. And you want to put this almost to the end. Line it up with that top paper right at the top and all the way to the edge. And then just burnish that down nicely once you get it nice and straight. And I have lots of marks here that need to be removed. So as you can see, that's going to give you this. And you're going to, if you're using the 110-pound cardstock, you're going to want to burnish this out really well because it is a stiffer paper. So next we just do the same thing on the other side. Add your glue to your tab. And then do the same thing. Put that right up at that top corner of the paper and all the way over to the edge. We don't want it to hang over, but we also want to make sure that it lines up nicely with the one on the other side. And it does. So we're just going to go ahead and burnish that one down. Now that we have it all nice and crisp. And now, as you can see, you have doors that close. Next, you're going to have two pieces that are 3.5 inches by 3 inches. And these are scored, again, one on the left and one on the right. This will be our, I have them backwards, I think. One side, we want 1/2 inch on one side and then 1/2 inch across this bottom here. So at your 3.5 mark, you're going to score at 1/2 and then turn and score at 1/2 again. And then you just want to miter that bottom corner down there, right at the intersection of those score lines. And then we just want to burnish that. Go ahead and do the other one. Fold these in. And do the same here. Then I don't have to erase all my pencil markings. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our little pockets that go on our gatefold on the inside here. As you can see on the completed one, that is these pockets. Now, when you create this, you may want to add your two pieces that are here to your gatefolds before adhering these pockets. You can slide them in, which is how I did it, but if you prefer, you can decorate both the small pockets as well as the gatefolds. So how I'm going to do this is I'm just going to grab a clip really quick, and I'm going to clip this closed just to make this a little easier and set this aside. And what we have for this is two small pieces, again, that I showed you. These measure 3.5 by 3, and these will actually turn sideways. One will be for that side of the gatefold, and one will be for the other. And these are scored at 1/2 inch. This one is down the left side and across the bottom. This one is down the right side and across the bottom. Both at 1/2 inch, and then again, those corners are mitered right at the intersection. And then those are folded and burnished. And once you have these ready to go and you want to bring these in, you just use either glue or score tape, either one. I am going to just use glue to show you. I'm just going to add glue to the flap on there. And again, those are 1/2 inch flaps, and this is going to be this side. You want one fold at the bottom and one fold on the side of your gatefold door. And once you get that nicely lined up, you just want to burnish that down. And again, you can pre-decorate, or you can still slide your paper in here. And I will just tell you that the paper that covers these doors, both inside and out, is going to measure at 2 3/8 by 6 7/8. Excuse me, 6 3/4. So 2 3/8 wide and 6 3/4 long for that. And then the covers for the pocket pieces, these are, again, 2 3/8, both of them. And then the height on these is also 2 7/8. So once you have your pockets on, you can decorate the insides and the outsides. And I will show you that. So you just want to make sure that when you put this down, that it's not going to interfere with either of your doors opening and that type of thing. We're going to go ahead and adhere that other one on there. Just add my glue here. And place that down. Making sure that it lines up but does not overlap anything, especially those doors where they open. We don't want it to overlap. Go ahead and burnish that down, and now you can see I have both of my pockets right there. So next I want to show you the inside. So for the inside of mine, this under pocket here, this was done using one of the cut-aparts with the seine. And I will show you that a little closer. And this ends up measuring, it will be 4 7/8 by 3. And I'm not going to use another piece, but I wanted to show you how to do this. So I'm just taking a piece of the colored paper that I have and showing you. So you want a piece that is 5 7/8 inches long by 3.5 inches tall. You're going to score that at 1/2 of an inch on both sides. So score it in at 1/2 inch and then at 5 3/8. Turn your paper and score 1/2 inch all the way across the bottom. And we just want to go in, we're going to do the same thing, like all pockets. We're going to miter the corners right at the intersection of our score lines. And we're going to fold those down. And just be mindful, if you're doing this the way I did with the cut apart, that you cut it down so that you can see all of the wording. If you're using the wording one from the paper collection. And this is adhered the same way that we adhered all of the other pockets. It will go right inside of here once you have all of this decorated. And you just have your pocket here and glue these flaps and place this down. You will have a mat if you do this the same as I did. There is a mat in the background here. I used that same mauve paper. And that mat is a 4 7/8 by 6 7/8. I do believe, let's just double check that. Yes, 4 7/8 by 6 7/8. And then the decorative paper is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. Once you have those pieces down, that's when you would adhere this pocket in this area here for your slide-ins. And then for those, I've used one of the journaling cards. If you don't have that, you can create your own insert. And then this piece was cut from the paper and then mounted onto a 4.5 by 5.5 piece of the heavy cardstock. And there's also a mauve mat underneath of this that measures it's 4 and not quite 4 3/8. Yes, 4 3/8 by 5 1/4. And then that just slides inside of there like that. Okay, so next let's go ahead and show you how to pull your pocket that's down here up. And that will bring the blank one in, and that is this down here, which was our final 3 inches that we did not cut off. And I have used my envelope punch board from We Are Memory Keepers for that. And I have placed that right in the middle there at the 2.5 mark, knowing that this is 5 inches, and punched to make my little notch. And then what you want to do is you want to grab some scraps of your cardstock. You don't have to use the heavy, but I have some. So I'm going to go ahead and use it. And these are going to measure 2 7/8 by 1 inch. And both of these we want to just score right down the middle at 1/2 of an inch. And we're going to go ahead and fold those and burnish it. And these are going to become hinges. Now, if you just want your pocket flat and you're going to slide one small thing in there and you don't need a lot of space, you don't need the hinges. You can simply just pull this up and glue it as it is, just like so. Or you can do it the way I'm doing. And how this is done, so we have our hinges. We want to put those with the fold facing out. And we just want to glue those down to the pockets. Be sure not to go over that score line because you need this to fold up. Make sure that it's nice and straight. I'm going to do that on the other side as well. Got my glue there. Just going to bring my hinge in and put it on there, making sure it does not overlap it anywhere. And I will say too, these don't have to be perfectly straight, the hinges, because you don't see them. So this is where we would want to decorate our paper behind here. Add that. I did not put a mat on mine. So the piece here, this is measuring at, let me double check here, 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And that was laid down first, this background paper here. And then I simply pull my pocket up and I put the glue on here, just like I did on the other side, and then fold this up and adhere this here. And then you can decorate this pocket as well. So now we're going to move to the front portion, and we are going to make our flat pocket and our box pocket for the front, which are, I will show you. Let me put this back together real quick here. Oh, and just in case you missed it on the walkthrough of the finished project, this is a piece of the heavy cardstock that measures out at 4 3/4 by 6 1/2, and then that was embellished, and I added a belly band, and this is the photo mat that I chose to create to slide into our gatefold to hold those doors closed, just like so. Okay. So now we're going to move on, and we're going to make this flat pocket here and this box pocket. So for the box pocket, for starters, you need a piece of paper that measures 7 inches by 4 1/2 inches. You're going to put that on the scoreboard, and we're going to score that at 1/2 of an inch and 1 inch, 6 inches and 6 1/2 inches. I'm going to go ahead and turn that clockwise, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to score at 1/2 inch all the way down and at 1 inch. Then what you need to do is you need to grab some scissors, and we just want to cut these score lines all the way across, all the way up on both of these, going upward. So you'll have this, and then you're just going to go to the side here and cut that little piece completely out. So you're going to end up with this look here. And I'm going to do the same thing, just going to do it the opposite direction. Just cut up, and that gives us these little flaps here. Then what you want to do is just take all your fold lines and get those all nice and folded and burnished. To make a nice crisp box pocket, you need to make sure these are all burnished. Like so. And then if you look at it from this side, you see you have all of this here. Now what you want to do is you want to bring this piece, this little tab in, and fold that line, and we're going to pull this over so you can see you have this little tab, and you're going to want to add glue to that little tab, and then we're going to pull this up so that we get this up against this tab here, right inside of there. Okay, so if you can see down in there, that little tab is up against this 1/2 inch fold line on this side. And then I am just going to grab a couple little clips to hold this closed while it dries. And I'm going to go ahead and do the other one. Again, add glue to your little flat piece, and then pull that in, line it up on that side, and then I'm going to clip it. And then we'll come back and glue that once that portion is glued and nice and straight. Now on to the flat pocket. So this is a 5 1/2 tall by 6 inch wide piece of the paper. And with this one, we are going to want to score it at 1/2 inch. And again, in at 1/2 inch. And then we're going to score all the way across the bottom at 1/2 inch. Again, mitering those corners right at the intersection. Just like so. Grab our punch board. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fold these down. So we know this is 4.5 when we are, or excuse me. Did I do that right? Hold on just 1 second here. 6 inches. Yes. So we know this is going to be 5 inches when it's done because it's 6 inches wide now. Once you get that all burnished out, just make sure on your scoreboard that it is 5, which it is. I'm going to burnish all of my score lines down nicely. And then I'm going to run this through my envelope punch board again for that. Flip this around so that I don't have to see the lettering. It's on both sides. Put that up to that 2.5 inch mark and punch. And this bottom one, we will go ahead and fold up now. Looks like I got this a little off. I did not cut enough off when I mitered this. And you don't want these, as you can see, mine are overlapping a bit, and we don't want that. They can touch, but overlapping is bad. Yeah, see, they should look more like this. So they're not really touching. So once this pocket was decorated, as you can see here on the front cover, this is this pocket here. This one adheres first, like so. And I am going to keep this and decorate it with another paper collection later. So I don't want to adhere this yet until I've decorated it, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use a paper clip to hold that on for now. So you would just add your glue on your tabs, and again, a flat pocket. And then we just want to make sure that this lines up with the bottom of the folio. Okay. And just like I said, I'm going to put that on there. And then we have our, as you can see, side by side, this is this pocket here. But this will be decorated with paper before I add the box pocket. So now our box pocket should be nice and dry. Pull that out. And then for this portion, we're going to go ahead and add glue to the part right here, right inside of there. And it looks like this one did not stick all the way, so I'm going to go ahead and add a little more glue. And dry for just a few minutes. So while this is drying for a second, I'll just go over a couple more things here. For the papers that you put on here, like I said in my walkthrough of this completed one, the green paper that you see here is from Safari Adventure Patterns and Solids. I did not have a Patterns and Solids for this, and there is not one available, so I did grab my Safari Adventure, which is a perfect match to the green. And the first mat below is 4 7/8 by 6 7/8, followed by the patterned paper at 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. Our pocket cover here, that green mat, again, the mats are all going to be 4 7/8 inches wide, and then whatever length you want. Now, I chose to cover the entire pocket and put it under. You don't have to do that because, as you can see, this box pocket, I don't know if you can see down inside of there. See, I did mine so that it was all the way through. You don't have to do that. I just like the aesthetic of that better. So I went ahead and covered the entire pocket. With the box pocket, again, 4 7/8 is your mat. And then I put a piece on here that was the 4 7/8 inches wide. And it is 3 3/8 inches tall. And then followed by the 4 3/4 by 3 1/4 patterned paper, which was also cropped with the punch to match. And then I've added some fussy cuts again on the front here, and used one of the stickers attached to some chipboard to make this portion. And then of course our tags. You can decorate these any way you want. It's really fun to use dies from your stash. And it's just a really wonderful little folio when I mean, it turned out amazing. I love it. And hopefully, if I give this one to my mother, she will love it just as much. I'm going to go ahead and stick this all back together while our box pocket is drying, and then I can show you real quick how that goes on. So our box pocket should be nicely dried by now. And I'm, again, not going to adhere this because it's not decorated just yet. And I did not get that straight on there anyway. So another quick tip I can show you that makes this a little simpler when it comes to these box pockets is using 3/4 inch score tape. So in place of glue for this portion, you can use 3/4 inch score tape. And when you do that, make sure your pocket is nice and your corners down here are nice and straight and up against each other the way they need to be. And then just grab your score tape, run it along there, and then hold that corner down before putting your score tape on it. And what that's going to do, as you can see, is it's going to help adhere this corner down as well. I know it's not the easiest thing to see on camera because I have an off-white paper with white score tape. And then you would just do that all the way around your box pocket. I'm just going to go ahead and run that tape down and across the bottom. And I am going to hold this down here and burnish my tape down inside of there. All right. Now, again, I'm going to decorate this before I put it on here. So once this is decorated and this is adhered, then you would just peel off your score tape and adhere this to the front, just like so. Very simple card creation to make, and I hope that you make one of these. Again, they can be made with any collection. I was very inspired by the Portrait of a Lady when I was tasked to do a holiday collection this close to Mother's Day, to make a holiday project, that is, and this just worked out great for it. And I hope you grab some of this paper and or another collection that is one of your favorites from Graphic 45 and make one of these folios and share it. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and happy Mother's Day to all you mothers.